Hey there, I thought I'd do a bit of a talking video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through not only the best knife channels, I'm going to go through some specific videos that I think you should check out on these knife channels. And if you look below in the description box of this video, there'll be a link to that exact video that I'm talking about. So I guess when you think, knife channel, I'm thinking not specifically even outdoors channel, just about pocket knives or knives in general, fixed blade knives, whatever. So anything's open. Tabletop reviewers, practical reviewers, all that sort of stuff, it's all fun. So a lot of these channels are outdoors as well, but I'm just picking from their knife stuff because this is what I want. Someone who's just getting into knives, just a few good videos to get started on, pretty informative. Yeah, just like a cool little list. And even the people who watch me and watch lots of others, you might not have one of these guys, so probably worth paying attention. So I guess you've got your big 5 or your big 6 or however many that you'd say the big ones are that are tabletop or pretty in-depth knife reviewers. You've got your Nut and Fancies, Prepared Mind 101, and he's got like a little group himself of the Gauntlet folk who sort of all have between sort of 5 to 20,000 subscribers. That's your Wingman, Inner Bark, Outdoors, Feral Woodcraft, all those types of folks, all good. You got Late Boy Scout, Gideon's Tactical, and Cutlery Lover. I'd sort of put them as the sort of big 5 plus others of the ones that don't really need an introduction, that I don't really need to go into because I'm sure you all subscribe to all of them. So the next ones are like my favourite channels. I'll just talk a bit about the channel and just suggest a video and just describe the video to you, and hopefully it catches your interest and you go and check it out. So I'll just play with some knives while I'm doing this because I understand talking is probably not super interesting to watch. It's a Leatherman Crater C33. So the first channel, he could well be my favourite tabletop knife reviewer, is It's a Wonderful Knife. He's been quiet for about a year now, but he's still active on Instagram. But I guess the YouTube's probably an extra bit of effort to do, and if your life is busy, it's probably the first thing that's going to go because it does take a bit of planning and such. But he has great tabletop overviews on nice colourful backgrounds. Seems to be pretty high definition, just gets good framing shots of his blades, and just good discussion. I like my discussion videos, and Abe there talks really well. The video I recommend you start with is called The Knife So Nice You Buy It Twice. It is, as it sounds, it's a knife that you'd buy multiples of because you don't want to lose them, or because you're worried about them, the run ending, that sort of stuff. Or ones that you want, a couple of in various places. So I guess for example with me, I'd buy a couple of Delicas and I'd have, one just in case this one broke, just so I didn't have to be without one for too long. And I probably indeed will buy a couple of Delicas. So that's mine, but yeah, just a little interesting talking point. But he does great reviews as well. And hopefully if enough people watch him and badger him in the comments, he might come back and make another couple of videos for us, which would be great. Next is Blackout Outdoors. They're just more of an outdoors channel, but I think they started with knife reviews, or they seemed to predominantly be knife reviews when they started. I got into them when they had about, I think it was 700 subscribers, and reviewing the Mora Light My Fire Swedish fire knife. That was the first video of theirs I watched. Haven't stopped watching them since. They make good videos, all sorts, but their knife videos are particularly good. I'll recommend you just check out his favourite bushcraft knives of 2015. He's got very specific tastes, and it's interesting. It's a very personal thing what kind of knives you like to take out with you for long periods of time. He's a proper knife user, like he uses lots of wood carving knives and does lots of leather work and all that sort of thing. So he'd need to know his way around the knives that suit him and suit his needs. Good video to start with there. The Apostle P is next. He's a good knife channel. Whether or not all your views are the same as his on life in general is a different thing entirely, but his knife reviews are in-depth, detailed, very, very sort of enlightened. The video I recommend you watch of his is called Please Help Victorinox Addiction. Now Rob over there has one of those very cathartic voices, just nice to listen to. So does Abe. I mean, most of these guys do. It's probably part of a successful YouTube, especially a successful tabletop channel. But yeah, you're just sitting back and listen to him talk for about 12 minutes about just his descent into Victorinox madness is quite a nice watch and quite relaxing. Next, probably a bit of a lesser channel, a bit more action oriented from what I can tell. Bush Brothers NZ. The video I would suggest you watch of them is Cold Steel SRK, What Can It Take? And I don't own a Cold Steel SRK, and I hear varying reports on the quality and the use of them, but they take an SRK and beat the absolute crap out of it, and to the point where they destroy the handle, but the knife is still completely fine in terms of blade integrity and tang and stuff like that. So pretty cool video to watch from them, and just have a dig around. They're obviously from down near my part of the world, so good to have them represented. Next is Everyday Knife Guy. I say that as I pick up Paramilitary 2, a recent obsession of his as well, I believe. Cameron from Canada, I believe Scottish or Welsh voice, so again, nice to listen to. He just does good reviews. His most successful videos actually seem to be paracord videos when you sort by most popular, but the review that I liked the most of his was he got a SOG Twitch 2 with a wooden handle, and he just did a nice, pretty honest review. Like, you know, obviously it's a really nice looking knife, but as a reviewer's supposed to, he just called the problems as he saw them, and there were a few problems with it. So it's a good review to watch to get started on Cameron's little hobby and work, so I suggest you start there with him. Edge Weapon 88, another one that's gone a bit quiet lately. I think he uploaded again a couple months ago, but sort of a bit more sporadic. He does really sort of high angle, like lots of the dynamic shots, sort of knife reviews. Talks a lot about the history of the knives, just that sort of stuff. Pretty good, just general detailed knife reviews. Edge Weapon 88. I'll recommend you look at his Spyderco Sage 3 review. Perhaps work from there. He's reviewed lots of knives. He has quite the collection, I would imagine. Next is Jim Nicest Knives. Different style of reviewer, really. Just more of a casual, laid-back, sitting around, not the campfire, but you know, sitting around the rumpus room, perhaps with a pack of cards in the middle of the table. Definitely a few ales going down, just chatting about knives. He does some good shots at the end of his knives always, like nice high-definition photos, which I always appreciate. And yeah, again, doesn't have a huge amount of followers. Just does his own thing though, and I certainly appreciate it. I would suggest you watch, probably one of my favourite videos of his is I liked his Tech Tool review by Boker. It was the first time I'd seen the Tech Tool. I think it just was the Tech Tool 1, the single bladed or the single layered one. So just check that out, Jim's Tech Tool 1 review, and much more. He's a proper knife collector, as in he just compulsively seems to buy knives, like lots and lots of lower price knives, just anything. So he certainly lives it. And yeah, just anything. He's not a blade snob. He reviews Rough Rider, I think that's the name, Rough Rider knives. He reviews Strayed knives, but then he reviews Northwoods knives as well. So just good, nice high output channel. Old Jaguar Knives. Now I would probably put him in that top group with Nut and Fancy and all them, but I think a lot of the time, because his output is so severe and so extreme, he probably gets overlooked a little bit. So I just suggest his video. I'll just pause and look it up, which one it was, because I was watching it before. It was about Ontario Knife Company. I'll just have to get exactly the title. 1 second. Yes, it was Endless Blades, Ontario Knife Companies. This is the range of Ontario, which is not too many channels do this. Just all the blades. He owns a fair few of them himself, but just talks about all the blades from a certain company. In Ontario, one of my favourites, so this was a good video to watch. I think he might be a subscriber to me. I'm not sure if he actually watches though, but Israel, if you're watching, that is a really cool type of video to do, and I really appreciated it. And I'm sure something, especially if you did like Essie's knives, whatever you've got, I suppose, as well, would go gangbusters. People would love to see all of the Essie knives, make a couple of range recommendations. Very cool video. 555 gear, definitely taken off this year. Had a few sort of big videos. He did a great one that was really inclusive of the knife community, which was cool, like his yearly wrap-up. But the review I'm going to get you to look at from him is his Delica 4 and ZDP review, because he does the proper history of the Delica, lots of angle changes, not like me with my single cut. I always start out with the greatest intentions and then just do like a tabletop video or something. He does a proper rundown of the history of the Delica, uses graphs and bars and all sorts of cool stuff. Very high production, very professional chap over there. Just started watching him and he's certainly very good. Old mate Knife Techs, I would recommend you watch his XE6 versus Swiss Champ review. Knife Techs is it reminds me a bit of there's like this trinity of, there's him in America, then you've got Jim in England, and then you've got Cameron in Canada, and there's sort of three very distinct kind of styles of of reviewer that I think, well, they're all kind of similar. They remind me of each other, but different nationalities doing the same kind of thing. Just that sort of, just like chatting with a friend about knives. So I really like his videos, and I would suggest, his XE6 versus Swiss Champ. It's quite a good little rundown, and just the kind of video that I like to watch. And lastly, a channel that is long dead, but this is one of the better videos you can watch if you're interested in steel. It's a two-parter from a guy called Blunt Truth For You. I don't know what happened to this guy, but his videos were really, really good. His knife reviews were really, really good. But yeah, just stopped 5 years ago. Last active 3 years ago, so he's definitely not on YouTube anymore, at least with this username. So there's all sorts of theories about what happened to him, but at any rate, either the aliens have got him or whatever's happened, but he's left this very, very good video. It's actually the Falkniven U2 review that he does, but he branches off into a proper steel test. Fairly scientific, like obviously not, peer-reviewed, but he cuts linear feet of cardboard with various different blade steels, like AUS8, Super Gold, S30V, and it's really, really cool to watch. And the results, in fact, I think the Falkniven, which is this knife, which should have a super steel that is superior to the S30V, which is this knife, this actually gets outdone a fair bit by this knife, so very interesting to watch. And he's not biased because he owns all the knives himself, and he's not in a particular steel camp. I mean, is there anyone really in a steel camp? Sure, we all just want to know which the best ones are. So, but yeah, really, really cool video to watch. So I'd suggest him as well. So that is just the guys that when I sat down this Arvo I thought about. There's a couple of others. I like Aussie Mark 909. I think I've plugged him before. He's Australian, and he does lots of cool, he reviews all types of knives, but case knives, traditional knives, but then he does like cool tactical knives, just lots of knives from Aussie Mark. And he's always keeping up with the legislation, and it was from him that I realised that you could now order knives like this in Australia. So that was cool. I realised the laws had changed when I saw his video come up. So there you go, very, very knowledgeable man. So I'd recommend him as well. I don't have an exact video on hand of yours to watch, but perhaps if you look at his case copper lock video, just get you a general idea of how he runs his show. So that is all. Thanks for watching my video. Thank you for watching me. I've almost coming up to 500 subscribers now. I mean, it's taken a while to get there, but I reckon I'll be doing another giveaway at 500. I'm always looking to expand. I'd like as many people to watch my videos as possible, so by all means, tell your friends, tell your mum about me. I mean, your mum will probably already know who I am, so sorry about that. But, spread the word, and we'll catch you in the next video. See you, dudes.